Hey guys, GameBoy38 on here. Once again, we're back in Beam, and this is another preview for my add-on packs. Alright, we're going to start things off with regular old Black Magic, just to get her going. This is actually my old race tune. I haven't driven this for a while, so it will be interesting to see how I remember how this thing drives. Shouldn't be too hard though, it's just a regular old CRD with a lot of power. Wow, this thing does handle differently. I've been working on so many things that handle way different than this. I don't know if they handle better, but I'll say it handles differently. You might be able to see what I've been working on there. We will get to that, do not worry. Give it up for Black Magic. Simple run to get us going. Oh, I wanted to bark there, but I guess the game had other plans. Is that really not a thing? That is not a thing. Whoever made this map is, I guess, lazy. Alright, so Black Magic, very well-known truck. It's in adjustable add-ons out already, so let's see what's next. As you have all been aware, the diesel engine has been slightly broken with its textures. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I wanted to put an end to that, so here we are. This is Brodozer with its proper 6.6 liter Duramax engine. Spent like 20 bucks on this engine model. Thought it was an okay price for what it was. I couldn't find like any free ones that were like even remotely decent, so I was like, screw it, we're gonna buy it. So here it is. Brand new engine model, 6.6 liter. This is the most accurate Brodozer tune you can make. 1200 horsepower, 1400 foot-pounds of torque. Just like how some video I saw like a year and a half ago said the specs for Brodozer were. With its compound turbocharger intake. And, of course, we gotta have the exhaust stack, and I love the BeamNG update to let it, like, pretty much every map have some ambient air movement. So now you can see the smoke goes ahead of us if we hit the brakes. And this applies to everything with exhaust fumes. You can see it go right ahead of us. That's so cool, I think. I love the update to this BeamNG game. And you can see, it doesn't do too bad. I gave it a special gearbox that should help mitigate any weird behaviors. And there's still turbo lag, so you got to keep it spooled up. Even though it is a compound turbo, the big one still takes time to spool up. Give it up for Brodozer and its brand new diesel engine. I will be leaving the old 500 cubic inch Gavril, as well as the first version of the Chevy 572 Big Block. I'm going to be leaving them in for legacy purposes, so if you have an old tune that used those engines specifically, or just like it better for whatever reason, I'll leave it in. I don't like deleting stuff. And now, let's get to the flat elephant in the room. Yep. This is a very different setup. We're going to give this a drive before I talk about it. This is a very special chassis and suspension. In fact, this is what I dub the pure racing chassis. It's a heavily modified CRD3. You can see the cradle area has been raised up about 2 feet. And the sway bars and all the suspension bits have been moved up as well to give it a very, very low profile. Let's take a look at some of the parts on this. You can see it's under my chassis mods, and it's labeled as a CRD3 Pure Race Chassis. It's only got the Ford customizable engine for now, but, you know, it's a Ford customizable engine. It's the best engine I got. So, it's not a bad one to have. Body type, even though it's CRD3, we are able to put on pretty much whatever body we like, same as the customizable chassis I've been working on. Likewise, it's got the usual chassis bars and chassis parts slots available as well. So if you want to have the chassis bars on for an engine cover, you can. And then the Lexan parts, that's the same as always. And then the suspension, here's the special parts. We got the slam suspension and the less slam suspension. So it is based off the CRC suspension I've been working on in base adjustable add-ons. And the slammed edition just means it's lowered even more. If you don't like it to be this low, there are more regular suspensions we can go for. So I guess this will just be an example of like the extreme we can go to, where the front's super low but the back's super high. So let's just see this. Front as low as it'll go, back as high as it'll go. This will give us quite the stance. This is the old barefoot stance. Or we could go the other way and just Carolina squat it and ruin it. Alright. I'll need to put on the other suspension. I'm just doing this for a meme. It's not going to serve any purpose. But yep, here we are, everybody. We're going to get slammed rear and raised front to give us that Carolina squat. It's even worse if you put on the rear transport tires, but I won't do that. Still got some things I'm working on. For instance, once you lower it all the way, the drive shaft does kind of not know where to go. But for now, I'll just set it back to how I had it before. I'm going to call it Voodoo Omen Pure Race. It's going to have its own preset. As well, there will be a naked preset for the Pure Race chassis. So if you want to start getting your trucks ready for pure racing, you can. And as you saw, if you don't have the ride height stupid low, it can get really low. If you don't have it maximum low, you actually can still take some jumps, but obviously this is a race setup, so it won't perform as well as regular CRD for freestyle. This setup is used purely for the best lap times around the track. And next up, this is a mod of mine that's already out right now. I have been revamping my D-Series engine mods. So this is a tune with 1100 horsepower all-wheel drive. It's an insane tune. I'll probably end up using this in my next community event for its Tough Truck Challenge. This thing is insanely fast and very fun to drive. So this update that's out now adds some pretty cool things. We can have the diesel engine, of course, but if we put in the 6.9 liter engine, and the gas fuel tank. One thing that we can do is put on turbochargers onto the gas engine, something you can't normally do, just for more tuning capabilities. It's pretty silly, just like on the diesel, but more options is more options. This engine upgrade and parts and presets are also available on the H-Series van and the Roamer as well. Alright, and there is one more thing I have to show off. It is a bus. What is this bus? Well, take a look at that torque curve app. It has 6,000 horsepower. It's a little bit faster than your average bus, let's just say that. In fact, it can go 200 miles an hour. Oh. Right. So 200 mile per hour bus. I don't know why I did this. I mean, I know why. It's because I was super bored one night. It's like, hey, let's make this while I was in a group chat with a bunch of other people. And we zoom. And we keep zooming all the way to 200 miles per hour plus. Of course, you can still put on the rocket boosters to go even faster, but on raw engine horsepower, over 200 miles an hour. Why? Again, I don't know. This will be out eventually. I just thought it was funny. Oh, did not mean to throw you back here. We'll hide you under the stands. Nobody will see you there. There's one more thing I'm working on that I can show off here. If we go to the suspension, go to the axle, and go to the sway bars, I've added alternate sway bar mounts to the CRD chassis. So if we go ahead and use those sway bar mounts, here's what I can do. Take a look. We now have an extra sway bar. It's in front of the back tire instead of behind it. So it's pretty much what the Parsec extension does from BlazePack, but I'll hopefully have it ready in time for adjustable add-ons version 8.0. It's not perfect. If we go ahead, just I guess move the chassis around. I think that's a funny note. I'll try not to poke that. You can see they do work fully, but they wibble and wobble a little bit. They're functional, they just look funny. I'll try to fix that before release. If I can't, I'll just label them as work in progress. If you pause the game and, like, you know, take photos, it's great for that. If you want to have a different look for a photo. This truck has super bright lights, so it's actually covering up the wibbliness of the sway bars, but if I turn the truck off, you can see them wibble and wobble. Well, I'll try to fix that before release. I've also been working on fixing all my presets that have been made busted with this update. So, yeah, that's been a lot of work. So let's go ahead and summarize. Blackmagic, cool as always, is new alternate sway bar location. You can put these on Blaze sway bars and regular sway bars, but they are a work in progress. Brodozer has its proper engine finally after, like, 2 years. There's a pure race chassis, and the race chassis will be released with Blackmagic 12K and the airplane engine and the 727 drag engine as well. It'll all be one pack because it's a lot more chassis mods that I don't feel quite comfortable releasing in adjustable add-ons. But this should be fine. To have it be its own pack. It'll still be with adjustable add-ons, just as a separate download. And then available now is the D-Series engine upgrades. And then, of course, we're working on a 6,000 horsepower bus for some reason as well. As for a planned release date, I would like to have these out by February, just sometime in February. Ready in time to start a new multiplayer series. The Multiplayer Endurance Championship will return in 2023. That's it for now. If you guys are hyped for all this stuff and that next series announcement, you can leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well to stay up to date for everything. Thanks, Gambia. I'll see you all in the future.